Hello and welcome to Access Asia here on France 24. I'm Will Hildebrandt. Coming up, they number in the millions and yet they are largely invisible. India's impoverished rag pickers searching for recyclables and incidentally cleaning up the streets. Now imagine taking a break in prison. Overworked South Koreans are paying to be put in solitary confinement in mock lockup. Chance to get away from it all. The Ama are a community of freediving fisherwomen in Japan with their extraordinary abilities to stay underwater without using a tank. We'll take a look at the dwindling practice. And we begin on the streets of India. Many of the poor searching for a way to survive. They collect recyclables that they can turn in for a profit and incidentally are cleaning up many of the country's streets. But the so-called rag pickers are largely neglected and overlooked. Sanam Chantier reports.
These women take to the streets 6 days a week, and up until recently, they've been struggling to survive in dire conditions.
Bring out your rubbish!
These workers are part of the lowest Indian caste, once known as the Untouchables, and they're in charge of picking up, cleaning, and sorting through recyclable waste.
If we don't collect this rubbish, I don't think anyone else would do it. The collectors of the district would never go from door to door. They only pick up containers from the streets.
Over the recent months, their status has changed. They've been given an official waistcoat and a badge by the first waste collection cooperative in India named Swatch. Even local residents are beginning to treat them differently.
They are cleaning the streets for us, so we have to respect them.
We should treat them like human beings. Before they were treated as, daily wage workers, or they are servants, or they are slaves of us.
With the new status comes a new salary. This because local residents now have to pay a fee to the cooperative for the waste to be collected each month. On top of that, the recyclable components are sold and the workers pocket the money.
These are sold off at 2 cents a kilo. This is 1 cent. And paper is also 1 cent.
Today, each woman is earning around 85 euros a month, whereas before it was no more than a dozen. What's also changed is that they no longer work alone. They can count on the solidarity of the entire team.
This is how it is now. We can help each other. If one of us is sick or has poorly children or a wedding and needs to take the day off, we can do the job for them. It's all reciprocal.
Across India, there are an estimated 1.5 to 4 million waste pickers, and many of them work in the shadows without an official status. The cooperative was established to recognize this informal industry. Laxmi Narayan is one of the founders. Today, she's paying a visit to this bungalow where the waste is sold.
We thought, why not have a win-win situation where they retain their jobs, in fact have better conditions and better earnings. Citizens get a very good accountable service. Municipality pays less but has a good service, and the environment is protected because you are ensuring higher rates of recycling.
But what's really changed is these workers' lives after a day on the streets. In the heart of a shanty town, this woman is preparing dinner. Since joining the Swatch cooperative, her small tin house where she lives with her children has been transformed.
I took the money that I earned from Swatch and took out a loan from the bank to build an extra room. On top of that, I was able to save some money and buy this gas hob. I even bought a TV and a cupboard.
As a single mother, all the responsibility for the children falls on her shoulders. She's even paid for her daughter's upcoming wedding in March and her son's education.
At the beginning, I was ashamed to tell people that my mother is a rag picker. Now I'm proud of her. She pays my school fees and has never refused to give us anything.
So far, around 3,000 people have been plucked out of extreme poverty thanks to the Swatch cooperative. But the scheme still has a long way to go in India, where millions of these workers continue to face a set of utterly inhuman challenges.
Well, after a long week of work, where do you go to get away from it all? The park, the movies, or, as a growing number of people are doing in South Korea, perhaps a fake prison? In one of the most overworked countries with a high rate of suicides, some say prison gives them freedom, paying good money to sleep on a floor in solitary confinement and without contact with the outside world. Anka Ula has more.
Solitary confinement. In many countries, it's considered cruel and unusual punishment. But in South Korea, it's become a remedy for life that moves too fast. Many South Koreans are paying to be locked up in special mock prison facilities in order to escape their overly demanding work or academic lives. This facility in Hongcheon, in the northeast of the country, is called the Prison Inside Me. For $90 a night, guests are given a Spartan cell. 5 square meters, no clocks, no mirrors, no bed. They're forced to hand over their electronics and any other means of communication. In return, they're given a uniform, food, tea, and a notebook. 28-year-old office worker Park Hye-ri says she came here for some peace and quiet.
It is very quiet, which helps me focus on myself. Ironically, it feels like this prison gives me a sense of freedom.
She's not alone. Since opening in 2013, Prison Inside Me has hosted more than 2,000 people. South Korea has one of the most demanding work cultures in the world. Long hours and high competition have led to skyrocketing suicides. 12,000 last year, almost double the rate in the US, and more than 3 times that of Britain. The co-founder of Prison Inside Me says that's contributed to the success of her service.
At first, people say it would be unnatural and stuffy to be in a prison cell. But after staying here, they say this is not a prison. The real prison is where we return to.
South Korea's government has been trying to change the culture by capping work hours at 52 per week, instead of 68 previously. But the policy has drawn criticism from both employers and employees, who say the standards are vague. For now, the safer bet for many seems to be taking a moment to turn off by locking themselves up and throwing away the key.
The ama, or sea women in Japanese, are a community of freediving fishers in Japan. It's a dwindling practice as the ama get older and their children and grandchildren no longer follow the same path. Peter O'Brien tells us more.
Sea snails, not dredged up, but collected one by one from the sea floor by these elderly women just off Japan's Shima Peninsula.
When the water's clear, I really feel like I'm a mermaid among the fish. It's a fantastic sensation.
Ama, or sea women in Japanese, have been diving like this for thousands of years. The only thing that's changed is their gear, but they still don't need a scuba tank, despite sometimes being underwater for more than a minute. Some of them are over 80 years old and still diving.
Of course I'd love the kids to take over, but I know that being a diver is a difficult job, and I don't recommend it, even to my own children.
The number of ama is slowly sinking. There are now fewer than 2,000 across Japan, a fraction of how many there were a century ago. The work is poorly paid and dangerous. Younger people in the community have left for the city in search of more stable jobs.
We have to answer the question of how we can increase the revenue of these divers in order to increase the number of ama.
Commercial fishing has drastically reduced the amount the ama can forage, but their cultural importance could save their way of life. Some have opened up to tourists the huts they've used for generations to relax and socialize after a dive.
Today, most silk comes from the cocoons of domesticated silkworms, bred to produce cocoons that are easy to unravel into silk to dye. But in China, the production of wild silk is highly sought by designers. It's a production that is both lengthy and delicate that has transformed wild silk into a modern luxury product. Selena Sykes and Claire Rush report.
It's worn by models on every catwalk in China. Shangyu wild silk, a traditional Chinese fabric, is highly sought after by designers and comes with a hefty price tag. This dress is being sold online for $900, while this one is going for over $2,800. The high-quality fabric is made here near China's Pearl River, using techniques that date back 700 years.
We dry the fabric in the sun after it's dyed to get a strong color. When the fabric is damp, the color will fade, and that's not good.
2 colors are applied to both sides of the fabric, an orangey brown and black. They come from 100% natural dyes, which are known for being good for the skin.
It's a very soft and comfortable fabric. This one's for women. We've added a floral print. It always has 2 sides. That's what makes the silk so recognizable.
Lang Chu is the head of one of the oldest companies that produces this silk. Originally white in color, it's dyed using tuber plants.
These help us dye the silk. I'll find a knife to cut one up.
This variety is only found in southern China. The plants are crushed by workers using their hands and feet and are then mixed with water.
It's tiring. I do this every day.
All the ingredients are locally sourced. This mud is used to make black dye.
You have to sweep very gently and not press too hard on the fabric.
Producing the silk is a lengthy process. It's sold for up to $900 a meter.
Each operation requires a dozen workers. It's real teamwork.
It's a product the Chinese take pride in, especially since the First Lady was seen wearing it. This shopper is browsing for silk dresses. This one costs $400.
The silk is darker than typical silk we know, but that's what makes it chic, without being too much. It's high quality and part of our culture.
A Chinese expertise that has been exported to the United States, Japan, and some boutiques in France.
That's it for this week. Thanks for watching, and please stay tuned to France 24.
The holiday season is upon us, and France being a traditionally Catholic country, it means that the big end-of-year celebration is Christmas.
So how do the French celebrate Noel, and how do they ring in the new year?
It's a family celebration, a moment of peace, light, and harmony in the heart of winter.
1 week after Christmas, New Year's Eve rolls around, and again, it's all about the food. Now, it is a bit of a cliche here in France, but around the holidays, people really do tend to eat them.
People get together with their friends and family to eat galette des rois, king cake, to mark Epiphany. We're going to eat the cake to see who gets the bean. And Jeannie, I think it's going to be you, because it's always
3 years running.
French Connection Plus, presented by Jeannie Cotula and Florence Villeminot.